What hurts the most is being so close and being a Vikings fan. Like we full on are sadomasochists. Like we like the pain. The pain makes us feel alive. And this is much more frustrating than being like a Lions fan. Just like hope gone. So what now? So your record is what you are what your record says you are. Sure. And the Vikings are 1-4. It is what it is. They're the bottom of the NFC North with the Detroit Lions 1-3 on a bye. And if the season ended today, the Vikings will be drafting number 5 overall. Although I don't think it's a slam dunk that they would draft a quarterback since they don't have a second round pick. So wait until round 3 to find an immediate contributor. Okay, it's a whole nother can of worms, right? And if all of the 4 Vikings losses were how they played week 1 against the Packers and week 2 against the Colts, I'd be like, I'm all for it. Shut it down, blow this team up, get rid of all the contracts, etc. But this isn't really a talent issue about this team. Is that this team has been standing toe-to-toe with some of the best squads in the National Football League without Danielle Hunter, without 4-time Pro Bowler Anthony Barr, without Michael Pierce, who opted out because of COVID, etc. So the most frustrating thing about the 2020 Vikings is the last 2 losses, both against undefeated teams, could have easily been wins if just one play, one coaching decision, one thing bounces the Vikings' way, and that's where we are now, right? So they're like being a teenager at family Thanksgiving, where you're too big for the little kids' table, you're not big enough for the adults' table yet, and it's just a weird position to be in, right? And the Seattle loss is baffling. Just going back on this again. So yes, the Dalvin Cook injury completely changed the complexion of the game. But you have a 13-0 halftime lead on the road that evaporates 2 minutes because of a couple of turnovers. You outgained the Seahawks 449 to 314. You pick off Russ for the 3rd straight game against Seattle. You also sack him 4 times. Yes, all in the first half. Not really anything in the second half. And then you hold Seattle to 0-for-7 on 3rd down. And then you also double up their time of possession, 39 minutes, 28 seconds to 20-32. How is this not a blowout? How is this just not go in the Vikings' favor? Just one of those anomalies. But this team is improving. The pass rush finally woke up for the first time really all season. They've allowed fewer yards in 3 straight games. Also 4 straight games causing a turnover. Vikings offense, despite the Dalvin groin, has averaged 441 yards and 29 points per game each of the last 3 weeks. So they're on track. Kubiak getting in a groove. And the Vikings are frankly just stuck in this funky limbo where they're not bad enough to naturally tank and they're not good enough to seal out games against good teams. It's just an uber frustrating spot, and it's one that we found ourselves in many a times during the Zimmer regime. And that's always been the question, where you like him as a guy, you love him as a defensive coach when the defense is actually playing good. But the question is, can he get over the hump? Can he go from good to great? Can he go full Jim Collins on the bit? Have the Vikings plateaued under Zimmer? Do you trust Zimmer to win a big-time game? And then you go on the road on the wild card weekend last year against New Orleans, you get it done there. And maybe that completely altered history because Kevin Stefanski is looking damn good as offensive coach for the Browns, or offensive-minded head coach for the Browns. And they're off to a 4-1 start. And, what could have been? Because I still firmly believe that if the Vikings don't win in New Orleans last year in the wild card, Vikings trade Zimmer to Dallas. That's why they drug things out with Jason Garrett, because they were waiting to see what the Vikings did with Zimmer, and they were going to elevate Stefanski. Yeah, but like we said, season isn't over yet. Keep hope alive. Vikings do have the 0-5 Falcons coming up, but do not overlook them. They're a good football team. I understand that they just fired their GM and head coach for blowing leads, ironically. And also, teams often get a boost from the interim head coach. So TBD who that's going to be. It sounds like it's going to be Raheem Morris. It could be Dirk Cutter. Both have head coaching experience in the NFL before. So they could just get a little bump. Matt Ryan, still a dude, even at 35 years young. Julio Jones, TBD if he plays. Calvin Ridley is legit. Todd Gurley, I don't know what happened, but Todd Gurley apparently is not bad anymore. So got that going on for him. This is not going to be a cakewalk. There easily could be 2 1-5 teams walking out of US Bank Stadium next Sunday afternoon. So don't take that one for granted. Get it done. Get to the bye at 2-4. Dalvin rests up, misses the Atlanta game, has the bye, and then gets ready. You have 3 full weeks for Week 8 at Lambeau, and that's the season. All the chips are in. All in. Beating Green Bay on their own turf, even though, Green Bay hasn't really played anyone through their first 4 games. No one mentions that. But if they get that done in that spot, all of a sudden, the middle of the schedule opens up. Because then you have the 1-3 Lions coming into US Bank Stadium. The Bears are complete and absolute frauds. They're the worst 4-1 team in NFL history. Dallas is 2-3, except now that they're without Dak. And again, prayers up for Dak. Gruesome, man. That's terrible. Then you have the Panthers, who are playing some great ball under Teddy and Matt Rule and Joe Brady. 3-0 the last 3 games. Also could give McCaffrey back, but it's at US Bank Stadium. Could be a big boost there. And then also the Jaguars are who we thought they were. They're 1-4 and looking for a lot more losses as they get into the full tankathon. So that's what's frustrating. Is this team could find itself getting a lot of momentum, getting in the groove in the middle of the season, end up 8-8, 9-7, miss that final playoff spot, and then you look back at the Seattle game, you look back at the Tennessee game, where you had a very good team on the ropes, you had them beat, and they're just, yeah. And also, like we said for the tanking crowd, I don't know if the Vikings are locked in at quarterback because, frankly, Kirk Cousins the last couple weeks has looked pretty good. He has not been the problem. And also, since they lack a second-round pick, I don't think that Spielman would see it as a luxury where, even though, yes, it would make sense to be planned for the future, especially if you are drafting in the top 10 to get your future signal caller for the long term, because he's fully committed, fully dialed in on Kirk Cousins. He's like, well, why would we take a quarterback in the first round when we don't have a second-round pick, and then it would be the third round before we add a day one contributor, even though Zimmer doesn't play rookies anyway? And also, if you're Zimmer, you'd be like, well, you know who's really good? Patrick Surtain II, the cornerback, or Micah Parsons, linebacker. We got to replace Anthony Barr. That's exactly how it's going to go down, and you know it. And it's just... It just hurts, man. But it is what it is. It's rough. That's what's frustrating about the 2020 Vikings is that they're doing this without Daniil, without Barr, without Michael Pierce, and they can look like at times they can play with any team in the league, and at other times they're just like whack. But what can you do? All right, so your thoughts. Vikings 1-4. What now? Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support that work? Pull some of the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.